Asteroids are probably one of the most popularized scenarios for a world-ending apocalypse, and for good reason. Current studies suggest that an asteroid was what ended the dinosaurs 66 million years ago, and rocks like it are hypothesized to hit Earth every 100 million years or so. But what exactly happens when an asteroid collides with Earth? The answer is actually pretty interesting, as a lot of factors go into just how severe the impact is. But before we get into that, I'd appreciate you would like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay tuned for future content. Alright, so what exactly determines how bad an asteroid impact will be? Well, in short, a whole bunch of things. Variables such as how fast the asteroid is moving, what angle it hits the Earth at, and even the material it's made of will have an impact, as these factors determine how forceful the eventual impact will be. For example, an asteroid moving extremely fast and is going to hit Earth head on is going to cause a lot more damage than an asteroid moving more slowly and at a shallower angle. Even whether the asteroid is behind of or in front of Earth in its orbit will make a difference, as an asteroid coming up on Earth from behind will be traveling slower in relation to Earth compared to an asteroid that is flying directly into its path. However, the single biggest factor is size. Simply put, the bigger the asteroid, the more damage it will cause. And thanks to complicated combustion stuff, as the asteroid gets bigger, the amount of energy it will release on impact grows exponentially. So, what happens when asteroids of various sizes hit Earth? Well, if an asteroid is too small, it will just completely burn up in the atmosphere. This is because, as thin as the atmosphere is, the extreme speed of the asteroid generates friction. And if you've had a rug or rope burn before, you'll know that friction generates heat. In this case, it's so much heat that even metal objects like asteroids will completely vaporize before they ever reach the ground. Fun fact, this kind of thing happens when spaceships re-enter the atmosphere as well, but they are protected from special coverings on the outside that stave off the heat. Once an asteroid reaches about 80 feet in diameter, however, there will generally be enough left of it to reach the ground. And that is where the real damage starts. Again, how much damage an asteroid does when it hits the ground depends on its size and subsequent energy release. The absolute smallest asteroids that hit the ground will cause a localized explosion and a crater a couple miles in diameter, as was the case during the meteor crater impact in Arizona about 50,000 years ago. Similarly, an explosion that flattened hundreds of square miles of forest in 1908 is thought to have been caused by a small asteroid. As things get bigger, though, the resulting damage starts to affect a greater area. Asteroids about 1,000 feet wide can severely impact entire continents, and once the asteroid becomes more than a mile wide, the impacts go global. A massive fireball will engulf the impact area, in some cases tens of miles wide, and an earthquake several magnitudes bigger than anything Earth's tectonic plates can generate will shake the area. If the asteroid hits the ocean, a tsunami thousands of feet high will crash into shorelines as a mix of water, molten crust, and metal from outer space. The impacts will be so loud anyone on Earth would likely hear it, and the shockwave will demolish buildings even hundreds of miles away. But perhaps most notably, the sheer amount of material that the asteroid will eject will end up in the upper atmosphere, creating a toxic layer of gas, rock, and dust that will cool the Earth for thousands or even millions of years. It should come as no surprise then that the asteroid that killed off the dinosaurs also killed off about 70% of all life on Earth at the time. So, with all this craziness in mind, how often do these impacts happen, and when will the next one be? Well, thankfully, smaller asteroids are far more common than bigger ones. Even these smaller asteroids need to be in a particular location to cause real damage to a civilization and their infrastructure, given that 70% of Earth's area is water, and much of the area that isn't is inhospitable for most life. That isn't easy. As a result, asteroids burn up and explode in the atmosphere all the time without anyone realizing it. As for mass extinction events, those are estimated to happen every 100 million years or so on average. Additionally, NASA has been tracking as many so-called near-Earth asteroids as possible, and they estimate that about 90% of asteroids more than a mile in diameter have already been found. Of these asteroids that have been found, none of them are on direct course to hit Earth in the next few hundred years, with the only one of even remote concern being a 0.8-mile wide asteroid with a 1 in 30,000 chance of hitting Earth in 2880. Even if an asteroid is found that is on collision course with Earth, NASA has a plan for that. In 2022, the DART mission successfully redirected a small asteroid to a slightly different orbit, proving that we now have the technology to move an asteroid if needed. As a result, we can safely assume that the risk of a large asteroid ending everything is in fact almost nothing. And that's all I have to say about asteroids. As always, I would appreciate if you would like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay tuned for future content. Thanks and have a great rest of your day.